Running a business comes with a lot of what-ifs. But luckily, there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku, and it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what-ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. I hope you had a nice weekend. Aside from that Met game last night, I certainly did. My goodness, what a drubbing. We were shut out of Game 1 against the Dodgers. Hopefully, we'll get them back today. We're playing the Dodgers again this afternoon. The Yankees also have their first game tonight against the Cleveland Guardians. I still can't get used to calling them that. For me, they'll always be the Indians. And I have most of my life rooted against the New York Yankees because that's what you do. You pick one team and you root against the other. I have to tell you, honestly, I am rooting for both the Mets and the Yankees, and I really think all of New York should be. How great would it be for New York City to have a Subway Series this year? For the first time in 24 years, to see both of New York's baseball teams in the World Series. I think it's incredibly exciting, the prospect of this happening. Now, hopefully the Mets can remember how to play baseball. I don't think their carriage has turned into a pumpkin just yet. It would not be the first time that the Mets lost Game 1 and then went on to win the series. That's exactly what happened in 1986, if you'll remember, both in the NLCS, I think, and in the World Series itself. So I'm hopeful they can turn things around today, split the two games in L.A. before coming back home to New York. But I'm going to be cheering hard for the Yankees, too. I think it would be a great morale booster with what's happening at City Hall, with what's happening with Mayor Adams, with what's going on in terms of almost every aspect of New Yorkers feeling like they've lost a sense of pride in their city. Now, what can seeing two teams play a game do about restoring civic pride in New York? I don't know. But it worked for John Lindsay in 1969, right? We'll see what happens. Fingers crossed. And I want to wish you a happy Columbus Day. I'm going to discuss this with Dominic Carter in just a bit. I celebrate Columbus Day. I don't celebrate today as Indigenous Peoples Day or Italian Heritage Day. No. I proudly celebrate this as Columbus Day. And I'm going to be at the parade today. Maybe I'll see some of you out there. We have a WABC broadcasting booth. I'll be there with Curtis Lewa, Dominic Carter, John Katz-Matidis. I think we're going to be at 59th Street. So if you're at the parade, please come by and say hello. I'd love to meet some of you and meet as many of you as possible and meet anybody that's interested in celebrating Columbus, because as far as I'm concerned, he has had more of an impact on civilization than almost anyone who has ever lived in history. Happy Columbus Day.
Beam me up.
To be continued.
Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. It is, of course, Columbus Day, and some news that you might have read in the New York Post over the weekend is that Brooklyn City Councilman Justin Brannan, who is one of the leading candidates to be the New York City Controller, has been ousted from the New York City Council's Italian caucus for his position on Columbus Day. Now, this may seem a little dramatic to some, but it speaks to a larger debate that's been unfolding for years. Brannan's suggestion of renaming Columbus Day to Italian American Heritage Day isn't necessarily an attack on Italian heritage. It's an acknowledgement of the complex history surrounding Christopher Columbus. While I personally don't think renaming the holiday is a good idea at all, I think this whole idea of kicking him out is a little silly. I completely understand where the caucus is coming from on this. If this guy is going to cloak himself, and I don't want to sound like I'm disparaging Justin, because I know Justin a long time. He's a radio guy and somebody that I've been friendly with over the years. But if he's going to cloak himself in the red, white, and green colors of the Italian history and the Italian culture of this city, and then not be down with Columbus, the people should know about it. Christopher Columbus, despite his flaws, has been a symbol of pride for people of Italian descent for many years. The holiday represents the contributions that Italians have made to this country, often in the face of discrimination. Efforts to rename or replace Columbus Day feel like an erasure of that entire legacy. The Italian caucus, led by my friend David Carr, is right to demand an unwavering commitment to defending the holiday. When a member of the caucus, especially one of Italian descent like Brannan, publicly entertains the idea of renaming the holiday, it undermines the very mission of the group. Brannan's stance, while cloaked in the language of inclusivity, I really think is anything but. I think this is reflecting a trend of presentism, where the past is judged by today's moral standards without any understanding of the full historical context. By considering renaming Columbus Day, Brannan is playing into the hands of those who want to dilute Italian-American pride and heritage for the sake of appeasing modern, politically correct trends. The Italian caucus, as a body representing the interests of its members, has every right to expect unity on issues like this. If Brannan isn't willing to fully support Columbus Day, then I think it's only fair that he no longer be part of the group.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
Get ready for Universal Epic Universe, featuring the wizarding world of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic, and Super Nintendo World. Now open at Universal Orlando Resort. Tickets and packages on sale now at universalorlando.com.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Here is an important update on the situation at Fairlawn High School that I've talked about on the air before, where both Jewish and Muslim student clubs were asked to alter their displays during a recent school fair. This story has sparked controversy, especially following a report by the New York Post that claimed yellow ribbons displayed by Jewish students as a show of solidarity with hostages taken in the October 2023 terror attack on Israel were banned. However, the school district and local officials have strongly pushed back on this claim, stating the report was inaccurate. I don't know what's true and what's not, but it seems to me if the school itself is claiming that that report is inaccurate, I at least need to mention that. According to a letter from the school district, both the Jewish Student Union and the Muslim Student Association were asked to modify their displays, but not due to the specific content or symbolism of the displays. The letter clarifies that adjustments were requested because certain items which weren't part of the original setups were having a disruptive impact on the learning environment. The school emphasized that this was a procedural decision, not a stance against any particular symbols or viewpoints. In fact, the letter underscores that no students were disciplined and that wearing yellow ribbons in support of the hostages is and has been fully permitted. The mayor of Fairlawn, Gail Rottenstrich, who is also Jewish, has spoken out on this issue as well, calling the reports of a yellow ribbon ban inaccurate and inflammatory. She made it clear that students have continued to wear the ribbons without issue, stressing the importance of supporting the Jewish community at a time when anti-Semitism is on the rise. So what are we really looking at here? It seems like a case of heightened emotions leading to a misunderstanding. The school's decision to ask both both clubs to revert to their original displays wasn't an attempt to silence or stifle expressions of solidarity, but rather to maintain order and adhere to the guidelines of the event. And if that's true, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The school even acknowledged the important role both Jewish and Muslim students have played in fostering dialogue through their involvement in the Anti-Defamation League's No Place for Hate initiative. In situations like this, it's easy for accusations to spread, especially when the topic is as emotionally charged as this one. I'm going to get into this with Hadassah Lieberman in a little bit. But it's crucial to ensure that facts don't get lost in the fog of controversy. The school district has made it clear that they support students expressing their identities and causes, including wearing yellow ribbons. The real issue here isn't a ban, but a matter of maintaining an environment conducive to learning and respectful dialogue. There's your update out of Fairlawn.
Beam me up.
To be continued.
This episode is brought to you by Principals. Are there limits to the U.S. government's debt growth? What will happen if the debts are not curtailed? What should policymakers or investors do? Those are urgent questions that legendary investor and New York Times bestselling author Ray Dalio addresses in his new book, How Countries Go Broke: The Big Cycle. The book comes out in June and is available for pre-order today, wherever books are sold.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
New Jersey, a state with a reputation for political shenanigans, has outdone itself once again. Picture this. Anthony Salters, the powerful Democratic Party chairman in Hillside, pled guilty to federal tax fraud earlier this year. His crime? He knowingly didn't file his taxes. The kind of thing that would land most people in a heap of trouble. And it did. He's currently serving 6 months in federal prison. But that hasn't stopped him from holding not one, but 2 jobs in the local school system. Yes, you heard me correctly. A convicted felon currently behind bars is still employed as a public school teacher and a middle school club advisor. If you're scratching your head right now, you're not alone. You'd think that getting sent to prison might disqualify someone from being in charge of students, but apparently in Hillside, New Jersey, that's just another day at the office, or the jail cell in this case. Now, I'm not saying that people who make mistakes shouldn't be given second chances. I think if you listen to me for any length of time, you know I think that they should be given second chances. But can we at least agree that those second chances should come after someone has paid their debt to society and not while they're literally paying it? I mean, the man is behind bars as we speak. He's probably listening to this program right now. How exactly does he plan on teaching homebound students or advising middle schoolers on anything, let alone while sitting in a federal penitentiary? This whole situation raises some serious questions about the hiring process in Hillside. The school district clearly knew about Salter's guilty plea because, surprise, his defense attorney just so happens to be the school board's lawyer. Shocked. So the district went ahead and hired him anyway in a role specifically created for him. Talk about political patronage at its finest. But wait, there's more. Even after his conviction and sentencing, the district gave him a second job. It's not clear if Salters is collecting a paycheck while he's in prison because school officials are playing the no-comment game, but let's not be naive. The fact that this is even a question is beyond outrageous. Even in a state as infamous for political corruption as New Jersey, this case stands out. Hillside's Democratic Mayor, Dahlia Vertrees, said it best when she quipped, "People keep stealing our watch and telling us what time it is." She's one of the few local officials who's been brave enough to speak out against Salters and his cronies. And the sad truth is, New Jersey has a long history of party bosses and power brokers who thrive in the shadows, pulling the strings while everyone else is left to pick up the pieces. So where does this leave us? If we're letting convicted criminals serve as role models for our children, what message are we sending? Shouldn't we be holding our public servants, especially those entrusted with our schools, to a higher standard? To be continued.